Hi, everybody. I'm Bill Sanders, and this is Watch AHCI, the art and science of watch collection. What I want to do today is talk about some watches by Louis Erard. These watches are what I call the X watches. There's Louis Erard X, which means with uh, a number of famous designers and famous watchmakers. And what I wanted to do was really see what you're getting with one of these watches. I mean, it's sort of like somebody, somebody touches a watch and says, okay, and now it's a Konstantin Chaikin watch or a Vianney Halder watch or a Stefan Kadoki watch. And what I found wasn't far from that, but what I also found was some very interesting stuff as well. Now, all three of these watchmakers that that have they're really good, and I admire them. And so I think, okay, so let's take a look and see what they got here. First of all, the one by Chaikin, it's called the Unforgettable Purple. I think they have another Unforgettable Green. And really, what it is, it's a regulator that's turned on its side. You can see the crown at up at 12 o'clock, and the it's been turned sideways. I'm not sure why, but it's sort of an interesting thing. The Regulator by Konstantin Chaikin. This is interesting. One of them is a tourbillon, and the other one is just a regular regulator. It's sort of a fun one. The tourbillon is 19,900, 20,000. Really not bad for a tourbillon in terms of relative pricing. Um, there, there's I got this very cheap one. I got the movement and then made the watch around about $100 tourbillon movement that I got, and it see if it's working. There it goes. It's actually done pretty well for a little $100 tourbillon. And so I saw this and I thought, it's really interesting. I thought, well, maybe that's what they got. There's a wonderful tourbillon that I got from China by a company called Peacock, and it was about $2,000, and it looked like about the same quality as a Grand Seiko. Worked great. Beautiful tourbillon in it. Okay, so basically what you have is that they got these mostly regulators in the collection, and some of them were regulators with a tourbillon. They're about 4,000 bucks. They're all or not bucks, Swiss francs. They're all under 5,000 Swiss francs, and the tourbillon is under 20,000. Now, some other ones they have are by a designer like Sylvie Fleury and a couple other designers, uh, Cedric Joyner, and there's a place called Atelier Oi, I think, O-I with two dots, umlaut above it, on the bottom row there. On the top row, there's uh, Eileen Silberstein. Okay, I really like his design work a lot. And there's one again, another tourbillon, but this tourbillon is only 15,000. You can talk about 15,000 as only. So the question is okay. So all right, under 5,000, fine. That one, Sylvie Fleury's is only 3,900, and I think they got a couple around 2,000. Not sure what's in them. But at least for the tourbillons, this is sort of a good representation of what they have. Now, the final thing is that they do not list the movements, which I think is very, I just aggravates me. If you're going to buy a watch, you should know about the movement. They have technical details, and they have things like the size of the case, but they don't tell you what the movement is. They might tell you something about the capacity of it. It's 28,800 semi-oscillation per hour, or 38 hour reserve on it, but or it's automatic or it's manual wound. Okay, well, what I found is that the all of the ones for the regulators is by a movement by Salida called the Salida SW 266-1ND. ND is for no date. There's a little in the 260s. They come with a date disc that goes around. But in none of the ones that they had that I saw had the date window. I don't care for date windows too much, but what am I going to do? Now the tourbillon, on the other hand, I think, okay, these guys. Here's my tourbillon, my other tourbillon, the one that I have, and it's always fun to look at it, watch a tourbillon as it's moving the entire movement around so that the gravity doesn't pull it all in one direction. Well, with a pocket watch, that was a problem. But with a wristwatch, where you're moving your wrist around all kinds of different ways, you're not going to have the same problem. So a tourbillon is sort of putting on a little mini mechanical show for you. Nevertheless, though, it's no small feat to create tourbillons the way they are. I'm surprised they could do it at all. So, in looking at the movement they had, the tourbillon movement, I was expecting something from China. I had a peacock with a tourbillon in it, which was a Chinese made. It was $2,000. It was gorgeous. The case and everything else looked more like a $10,000 Seiko, Grand Seiko, and so this is what I was expecting. But that's not what I found. It was very interesting. There's a company that's called BA111OD or BAL. I'm not sure why they did it that way. Sometimes the English have a wonderful saying that's called too clever by half, and I wish to just call it whatever it is. The tourbillon is called the BCP TO2 is one that they use. It's 3 hertz, which I like very much. It's the 100-hour reserve, which is nice. 60-second tourbillon. And the entire thing is made in Switzerland. In Neuchâtel, they mentioned that Neuchâtel and La Chaux-de-Fonds are mentioned interchangeably because La Chaux-de-Fonds is such a big watchmaking center, but their address is in they're both in the Neuchâtel's canton. Okay, anyway, so in looking at and flipping over the watch, and you can see the back of it, you don't see much about being a tourbillon, but there's something there. You know what it is. One of the things I found out that impressed me is that I think possibly the Regulator, it was either that or the Escapement, one of the two, were made at a place called Alto Calpa, which is owned by the Sandoz Family Foundation, which also owns Parmigiani and Vaucheur. So here you have these. I mean, if they have the same, and the Alto Calpa makes the hairsprings and some of the other balance, I think, for Parmigiani. These guys, these are pretty good. They're not dealing with, sort of a really cheap one. Let me say something else too. The Chinese tourbillons are nothing to sneeze at. The one that I had with the by Peacock was excellent. So anyway, but for these, they are Swiss-made tourbillons. They have 15,000 for a watch with a tourbillon. Is awfully good, I have to say. If you like that design and you like tourbillons. By the way, like I said, I've got my toy tourbillon as well as the watch that I cobbled together with a tourbillon. I'm just not into tourbillons, to tell you the truth. but they're sort of cool. And I think the way Erard sets it up is also very cool. Anyway, so that's the Louis Erard X with either designer or a watchmaker. If you have one, I'd really like to hear from you on that. If you're interested in it, I'd also like to hear from you. Let me know what you think. It's an opportunity to subscribe if you like. And until next time, this is Bill Sanders for Watch AHCI, the art and science of watch collection.